Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. A massive 24 hours of VALORANT matches upcoming with huge implications for the playoffs and elsewhere as well. But the big drama last night was Tejo finally getting nerfed in a way that has caused massive controversy. Some players think fantastic, Tejo's going to be significantly worse. Some players think, why have they killed him again? Another agent that comes in, looks very strong, and then might be completely dead in the meta after all of these changes. Roster drama happening elsewhere as well. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. First of all, just wanted to quickly go through everything that's happening around the world of VALORANT today, because there is a lot, let me tell you. So this is a series that is currently ongoing, G Gaming versus Wolves. This will determine the team all the way into the grand finals, and of course if you make the grand finals, you guarantee your passage to the Esports World Cup as well, which is also a pretty big deal. So G Gaming won the first map 13-7. And then it's currently 12-11 here on the Lotus, so it could be an absolute banger. XLG bringing a bit of a comeback, so I guess we should tune in to see how that was going real quick after the advert plays. We'll come back and have a look at that. But while that's happening, I just wanted to quickly mention today is the 2nd of May. And tonight, there are two massive games in the Americas. The same story, MIBR versus Sentinels. Both of those teams are at Toronto, sure, that's guaranteed. But the winner, as I say, they guarantee the Esports World Cup qualification because that's top 2 in the region rather than top 3. We talked about that the other day. So still a big game, right? It's actually nice because typically this is the only game that would matter, really. Like, okay, it kind of matters who wins the region for seeding, but really people just care about, okay, who's going to go to Toronto, who's going to win Toronto. So the games that qualify you for the big tournaments kind of matter more than the upper finals, like at least historically in my opinion. I don't really care who wins this, but now I do care who wins this because the winner, it's important. And then the winner of the finals is always interesting as well. So it's actually kind of nice to see that every single game here has some serious implications. But G2 versus EG, that's the series, right? Look, G2 are going to be clear favourites. If they win that, they go to Toronto. If EG win that, they go to Toronto. So that's going to be a banger series. That's coming up today. I mean, also in the Pacific, it's the same story. I mean, tomorrow morning, T1 play Paper X. And like, I mean, okay, we have Talonugship as well, but T1 Paper X now is in 23 hours time. I mean, like, what an absolute cracker series for the first round of the bracket on the lower side. Winner of that plays Boom. Winner of that potentially plays a DRX. We'll see. Winner of that makes it to Toronto right now. In Europe, we're not yet back underway, although we will be very shortly. Today, the matches are going to be happening again. So, if you guys aren't aware, Fnatic Heretics and Team Liquid KC, that got postponed. And this map 1 is going to stand at 13-6 to Team Liquid. As messy as it was, as many tech pauses as there were, that is how it's going to be. So those games will conclude, and based on the results, the playoffs will then be seeded. But yeah, as I say, some massive games upcoming. And well, let's just have a quick look at what's happened here in China. It has gone 12-12. Wow, XLG brought the comeback, wow, to 12-12. So they win that overtime. We'll check back on it in a few minutes' time. They will have secured their spot in the grand finals. Couple of roster things before we discuss EMEA. Global Esports looks like Kelly S is going to go. They've made quite a few changes recently. Bans come in. Patrick, who's gone. Kelly S, it seems, is going to be out of there as well. So quite a few changes they're looking to make too. This is also spotted as well that Vinny, it seems, is gone from Loud. Look, this has been coming for some time. Loud apparently are going to get rid of Vinny. They're going to get rid of Toys. They're going to get rid of DGZan. Apparently that's the rumor, as we saw yesterday. Who they get instead, that is a bit of a question mark. Especially, I just wanted to quickly mention this. Ocelot Sports are not an esports team, but they are like an agency, right, that represent the players. And Sato has been working for M80, right? He's been playing for M80. But of course, there has been some consideration. At the end of the day, you're a great player on a tier 2 team that may win Ascension, who knows? But equally, it's not impossible that Sato has got an offer, right? I mean, we talked about it from Loud, potentially from Furia. They might want him right here, right now. And if that's true, then him, you know, joining an agency potentially implies that there might be conversations that need having. This is the update on what's happened in EMEA. And, well, they've actually done it. And it does raise questions, this, right? Because after many years of problems in the European side, the players came together, they complained very, vociferously about the problems they're experiencing. TenZ got involved, and bang, it's all been fixed in a matter of days. So, you know, it does go to show that kind of some collective action on this can, I suppose, be valuable. The new equipment is in, the new PCs are there, the show day is to resume today, the matches are going to begin here, Team Liquid resumes with a 1-0 start, the map Veto will be restarted, Split removed from the pool. So that's going to be the plan. But yeah, they've conducted the play tests, competition is going to return to the arena without an audience, unfortunately, but it is what it is. They just need to get these games over with now so they can get on with the playoffs, of course. But yeah, they say they trialed everything. They're going to play on patch 10.07. Of course, we'll get to the new patch stuff in a second. But yeah, the pro player playtest said the new infrastructure has substantially improved performance. No real surprise. There were some sporadic issues, but, you know, far fewer occurrences than we had seen previously. And they decided that, having looked into it in some detail that matched the Liquid game, that it was justified that they would keep the Liquid 1-0 advantage. Don't know what you guys think about that in the comments. My feeling that it's probably the right decision. It's a very tricky decision. And I know that map 1, you might consider it to be kind of null and void because of all the tech pauses. But I think you kind of have to give it to Liquid, because otherwise, you know, if you allow KC to play it again from a replay, they get all the advantage of having already played the map against them, so they can, you know, come up with counter strats, new ideas and all this. So, you know, I do wonder whether KC spent their last few days actually looking into what they would do if they had to play Split again, and then one day before it's been decided that actually no, they won't get to play it again. They'll have to just win 2 straight. Probably the right call, but a very difficult one. Durka, though, says, look, new PCs, new monitors, playtest felt smooth. Thank you, Riot EMEA, for putting full focus on the PC and stuttering issue and trying your best to fix it in a short amount of time. The transparency we have gotten after raising these issues clearly is very happy with. So great stuff. But I think it shows that, okay, the players clearly feel and now frankly know that if they approach it in this way, they will get results. So, you know, that will be happening again, I imagine. If there is a problem, people will be calling out right publicly about it, because then they have been forced into taking some action, which I think frankly will be good for all parties in the end. So obviously those games are currently underway. Durka says that it's possible to even get, you know, 600 plus frames on these new PCs. That's not going to be the 1% low, when of course there's loads of chaos on the screen. And speaking of chaos, let's talk about the agent changes that we have seen. So we saw the last couple of days, there are rumours that, okay, Tejo's going to be nerfed. What were they going to do to him, right? Because this is the classic Riot Games. They bring an agent in. The agent is very strong, if not overpowered. Look, is Tejo dominating the meta? It depends on your perspective. The meta right now is more diverse than we have previously seen metas be. Does Tejo need to be completely killed? No, not necessarily, but some players won't mind that because they just feel like Tejo's an annoying agent that doesn't really suit the way that they would like their FPS games to play. And I also understand that as well. Lots of changes. I mean, basically everything about him has been nerfed in some regard. I thought they would change some things. I wasn't sure they would change everything. I mean, look, they've done this before with other agents. Astra, Sky certainly comes to mind as well, certainly on like the cooldown type stuff as we see here with Tejo. You know, these agents that they've nerfed and have never really recovered, right? Because, you know, the idea is of the balancing team is that they make the agents balanced. I don't necessarily want to see agents that are dead or useless, but people are going to have different perspectives on whether this has killed the agent or whether it hasn't, right? So, yeah, the rockets are the key one, right? The rockets are the key one. You only spawn in with 1. You can purchase a second for 150 credits. The range has been reduced from 55 meters to 45, which is, you know, substantial enough. It's not completely game-changing for most people's utility usage, but, you know, it is a big deal. But this is the big one, right? The cooldown has been removed. I mean, this used to be, the rockets have been substantially nerfed now. So instead of you get 2, and then they would replenish after a 40-second cooldown, that's now no longer the case, and the cooldown just simply does no longer exist. You never get them back at all. The drone has gone up to 400, the stun has gone down to, the delivery set has gone down to 200, and then the ultimate's gone up to 9. So, you know, the rockets are the major change here, obviously, and there's been lots of reaction to it, whether this is a good or a bad change. Some really like it, right? I mean, TenZ has not been happy about this agent and says, chef's kiss, really like these changes, have to actually think about how you use the rockets instead of just blindly dumping them for whatever you want to do. Also fixes a lot of runaway post-plants. You have to think about the rockets for post-plant, you know, with the range, of course, you have now, or to take the site, not both. You know, I like this feature, right? Because of the no cooldown, you can't use the rockets to take the site, plant the spike, and then use it also to stop the defense, like, or to stop the defuse. That was a big issue. TenZ says that's a good change. Should feel more rewarding to bait out his rockets as well. You know, these are some fire changes. And look, I don't disagree, right? I think the changes are doing what they've, to some degree, being intended to do. The question is whether Tejo now becomes irrelevant because he's too weak. That's the question, right? And Boaster says, look, there's only one map now that he's still viable on after this change, and that probably is Fracture. But Fracture's going to be disappearing, right, from the map pool. So, you know, he says, farewell, Tejo. So TenZ says, look, he likes the changes, but the question has been, has this just kills the agents? Because Trent says it's over, chat. Of course, he's been kind of cooking on this agent lately, and he puts in the the McDonald's application. So yeah, a lot of players seem to believe that it's over now for him, and we get the same thing from Angel as well. They understand that nobody will even think about playing him, right? What is this balancing? Hope there is some misunderstanding in the leaks, although, I mean, we've seen them explain it now. Not like I enjoyed the Tejo meta, but we don't have 100 agents to delete one from the game. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we see different opinions. Most of the players are pretty convinced this is going to kill the agent. My opinion is, I don't know. Could he still be viable? I think he could be. I mean, you tend to see this though with the way that changes are made, that often the decisions that the pros make to use something doesn't necessarily always come down to how good it is, but how good it's perceived to be. And I think you're going to get that with these substantial changes, that even if Tejo is still viable, most players will now think that he isn't, and therefore they probably won't use him anyway. So I expect his pick rate to go down substantially as a result of these changes, although I'm not sure that there are probably certain circumstances where he could still be valuable, but there are other initiators now that definitely could well take the cake. And Angel's kind of calling out the idea of, well, you know, have we really balanced him here, or have we just nerfed him way too much? And you know, we've seen this so often, right? When an agent comes out, it's strong, probably too strong, because that's what usually happens. The new agent arrives, they make it powerful to be able to use it, skins, etc., etc. And then they nerf it so substantially that it's, you know, we go back to what we had before. So, yeah, we've seen this plenty of times before. Riot, I guess, think that they're balancing the agent, although many pro players think that they've just killed it. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Just one quick thing to go back to. XLG did take the 14-12 win. Full collapse there from Wolves, but XLG, they're in the grand finals of the Chinese region. And this next game about to unfold, Edward versus Billy Gaming, is absolutely massive. Winner of that goes to Toronto. Loser does not go anywhere. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.